Hey, I'm Adam Jusko from ProudMoney.com. In this video, we are going to talk about Credit One's nasty no grace period credit card offers. But before we do that, I would ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not already. And if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So about 6 months ago, I did a video reviewing Credit One Bank, sort of an overall review talking about the types of credit card offers they have. That video continues to be watched pretty regularly. I think Credit One is a bank and a topic that people are constantly looking for information from because of the fact that they target sort of the bad credit market. And when people get their credit card offers, they want to know more about them, obviously. Now, in a nutshell, what I said in that video was that Credit One Bank does target bad credit customers, and because of that, they do have high interest rates. They charge high annual fees, basically the same as a lot of other companies that work in that same space. If you have bad credit and you want an unsecured credit card, there is a good chance you're going to have to, deal with one of these kind of companies that give you small credit lines and have, high fees and high interest rates. So basically, I didn't really fault Credit One for it. I basically said that they, for the most part, weren't any worse than anybody else. Kind of the same thing, and that kind of comes with the territory. They've chosen to be in that business, and in order to make that business work, they have to sort of, structure things the way they do. And I said they actually weren't as bad as some other companies, that are in this business that really, kind of really put the screws to you when you have bad credit. First Premier. However, I did leave one thing out of that video that I wish I had included because I think it is a sneaky practice and Credit One should repent of it and change their ways. Now, what I mean by this is Credit One offers their credit cards using a lot of different rate and fee structures. So if you get a offer from Credit One, your offer may be different than somebody else's offer. They may charge higher interest or lower interest, higher fees or lower fees, whatever. So for the most part, they have so many different agreements that this one piece sort of slipped by me, sort of slipped my mind when I was talking about them. But it is something that I wish I had talked about because of the fact that it is, to me, so unfair of a practice. And that is the idea that for some of their credit cards, Credit One offers no grace period on your purchases. So that means when you have the card, if you have that card in particular from Credit One, they are going to charge you interest from the time that you make a purchase with the card. So you're not going to get any sort of grace period. You are going to pay some sort of interest on every single purchase that you make. The only way that you can, potentially, well, you can't even avoid the interest. The only thing you really can do is make your payments as soon as possible after you, make any individual purchase in order to, keep that interest as low as possible. But you cannot avoid it. There is no grace period. Now, you probably know that most credit cards do have a grace period. And what that means is you make a purchase today, you're going to get a bill at some point within the next, 2 to 3 weeks after that. And then you're going to have a little bit of time between when you get the bill before there's actually the due date that you have to pay. So all that time between the time you make the purchase and the day that you actually have to have that bill paid, that is your grace period, a period where you don't have to pay any interest. You are essentially getting an interest-free loan. In fact, with all the marketing that credit card companies do, I'm surprised they have not, sort of rebranded the grace period as the free loan period, because that is essentially what it is. Now, like I said, Credit One has a lot of different fee and rate structures, so they sometimes will take away the grace period, but they don't always take away the grace period. So that means that if you get a offer from Credit One, you have to look and make sure that you understand whether you're getting that grace period or not. But if they take it away from you, that means no free loan for you. Now, if someone ends up with a Credit One card that has no grace period and they use it and then get upset when they find out that there is no grace period, you might not have much sympathy for them. You might think, well, you should have read the terms and conditions. It was spelled out there, and that is true. It is spelled out in the terms and conditions. If you have a card from Credit One, and it has no grace period. It's going to tell you that right in between that interest rate information and that annual fee information. However, in my mind, for most people, because hardly any credit cards have this policy, most people are never going to read the terms and conditions that closely, and Credit One knows they're not going to read the terms and conditions that closely. So even though it's right there, people are going to look for that interest rate, they're going to look for those annual fees, they're going to skim right past that clause that tells you that there is no grace period on the purchases that you make. In my mind, if you offer a credit card with no grace period, you need to explicitly point that out. When someone is applying for a Credit One card and that credit card is not going to offer them a grace period, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as they hit submit, a box should pop up and it should say, "Yo, friend, did you realize that this card does not have a grace period? If yes, press, yes, I don't know what I'm doing. I must be out of my mind, but I still want to go forward." Or, "No, please get me out of here. This is a terrible idea." Now, like I said, in my past video about Credit One and other videos I have made about credit card companies that target bad credit customers, the high fees and high interest rates are sort of to be expected. These companies are working with people that have had credit problems in the past, so it is a risky proposition. So obviously they are going to put together a business model that makes sure that they are profitable with the inevitable defaults that are going to happen. And you could make the case that Credit One in this instance, by having a clause that takes away the grace period, is just finding another way to make money when they are lending to risky customers. And, fair enough. But in my mind, Credit One should be making that clear to the customers what is happening, because it goes against the practices of pretty much every other credit card company on the market. Even nasty old First Premier does not do this practice, although they're probably thinking about it. Finally, if you have bad credit, this is the part of the video where I make my pitch for secured credit cards. In my mind, if you have bad credit, you are better off to get a secured credit card instead of one of these unsecured credit cards that has a very small credit line and very high fees and interest. With a secured credit card, yes, you do have to put down a security deposit in order to get the credit card. However, there are also some big upsides to secured credit cards versus cards like Credit One in that unsecured space. The secured credit card generally is going to have lower fees. Many of them have no annual fee at all, so you've put down a security deposit, but you will get that refunded to you when you no longer want the card. But there aren't that many fees otherwise. Some of them have small annual fees, many of them have no annual fees at all. Second of all, a secured credit card, if you get one from a major bank, it is sort of a foot in the door with that bank. So if you get a card from Discover or Bank of America or Capital One or any other of the major banks that offers a secured card, it does sort of get you a little bit of a foot in the door with that company so that it can start to understand who you are and see that you are making your payments on time. And hopefully that will take you to the next point I would make, which is that a lot of these cards will then graduate you from secured up to an unsecured credit card, meaning they will either return your deposit to you and let you continue to use that card, or they will upgrade you to a different card that they offer that is unsecured. In my opinion, the best secured credit card to go after if you're someone who is trying to rebuild their credit is probably the Discover card, because it is a fairly major credit card issuer and they are known to graduate from secured credit cards to unsecured credit cards probably faster than any of the other major banks out there. So if you are considering Credit One, I would have you, if it were up to me, I would tell you that you should probably consider a secured credit card first before you think of getting a card from Credit One. So that is it for this video. As always, I thank you for watching, and please go to proudmoney.com where we do credit card reviews, and we have personal finance news, and we talk deals and all sorts of other fun stuff too. Thanks for watching. Bye.